What's up, guys? My name is Will, and I'm making this video today because at the facility where I work at, I've noticed a question that's come up, the age-old question that's come up a lot recently, and that is bodybuilding or powerlifting? What's better for me and why? So I've done a bunch of research on the subject, seen what other people think, and I noticed there's a lot of really biased articles, there's a lot of really biased videos on YouTube of people giving their opinions of what's what. One side calling the other side an idiot, the other side calling the other side non-athletes. So I'm here to give a non-biased opinion and tell you guys what I think is better for you. So to get started here, I'm not a bodybuilder, I'm not a powerlifter, I'm an American. I like God, guns, fast cars, beautiful women, pretty much try to have one of each. So that's a little bit about me. Obviously I'm in the fitness industry, it's how I make a living. So to talk about it a little bit more, we'll get started with powerlifters. Now, to set the record straight, powerlifting is a sport. Powerlifters are athletes. These guys in their own right are absolutely incredible about what they can do. So the whole basis behind powerlifting, and I've seen a lot of videos that say powerlifting is better, and I'm not going to disagree with that, but I'm going to tell you what I think about it. So powerlifting is designed around 3 lifts. You've got your bench press, your squat, and your deadlift. There's raw powerlifting and there's geared powerlifting. We're going to pretty much stick to raw because that's the basic powerlifting. That's what's been around for years, so that's what we're going to go with. So with powerlifting, the whole idea behind it is to move the most amount of weight possible as efficiently as possible for a single rep. And then you total what you have to get your total score. And there's something called the Wilks score. So what we're going to do right now is go ahead and set the record straight that not all powerlifters are fat. Common misconception, I'm going to relay that out right now and say that is not true. I call BS. You look at Dan Green, one of the most successful powerlifters in the world. He's absolutely shredded, ripped up like a fish fillet. And he's an incredible powerlifter. You know, his raw totals are absolutely insane. So the whole base behind powerlifting is to be as small as possible and lift as much weight as possible. When I say as small, I mean weigh as little as you can, and there's obviously categories. And you lift as much weight over your body weight as possible, and then you use those two numbers with something called the Wilks score, and you combine that with your age to find out your percentages. And if you don't know what that is, look it up. It's going to just take a while to explain, and I don't want to lose people's attention here. So powerlifting, in its own right, again, is incredible. These guys are absolute freaks, and their feats of strength are incredible. But the whole basis behind powerlifting is, again, those 3 lifts, and to move the weight as efficiently as possible. Now, efficiently is not always better in terms of building muscle and getting stronger. You take the bench press, for example. So a powerlifter for the bench press will keep his butt in the seat, of course, dig his traps into the seat being the bench, arch his back, stick his stomach in the air, bring his hands out wider, and tuck his elbows in when he comes down. All this is going to do is create the smallest range of motion possible, because if the range of motion is smaller, the weight is going to have to travel less far, obviously, and it's going to be easier to lift a heavier weight, therefore giving you a bigger total number. Now, the one thing that sucks about powerlifting is there's so many federations and there's so many rules, and each federation has different rules, so it's hard to tell because, you know, one person can squat 1,000 pounds and the other person will say, oh, it's not to depth, and then, you know, the fight continues, and that will always be in powerlifting because it's a perception, it's a perceived thing by the judges. So powerlifting is great if you're trying to lift to get to a 1 rep max and continuously hit a 1 rep max. Now, the problem with powerlifting, in my opinion, is that you have your 3 lifts and everything else is considered accessory. But in real life, and we're talking about real life here, that's why the question is what's better for me. Powerlifting doesn't play a huge role because typically you're not training to look good because that's not your purpose. So we can X that right off the list. You're training to be strong. I can tell you I've been working out for a long time. I live a pretty versed life, and I've never had to bench press something in real life. I've never had to squat something for the most part in real life, and I've never had to deadlift anything where it really mattered how strong I was in real life, of course. So that's going to lead us over to bodybuilding. Now, bodybuilding is a much different sport, and yes, it is a sport for those of you who say it's not. Yes, bodybuilders are athletes. Yes, it's kind of an art form, but it's much deeper than that, and if you've ever tried it, you'd understand. So bodybuilding has a focus of looking good, being symmetrical, being proportional, being defined, and obviously size. So we're not going to talk about steroid bodybuilding, we're not going to talk about professional level bodybuilding, because we're talking again about what's best for me and why. And I'm going to go ahead and assume that everybody watching this video is not on steroids. Now that's a video I will post. I'd like to talk about that, because that's another thing that's got huge misconceptions with it, a lot of really biased, opinionated stuff. And I'd like to go ahead and say I'm drug-free weightlifter, always have been, hopefully always will be. But we'll talk about the temptations, and we'll get that out there for sure, because if anybody tells you they're not tempted, they're probably lying. So, back to bodybuilding. Bodybuilding has a purpose of looking good. For the most part, that's what we as average people want to do. That's why we work out. We work out to look better, to feel better, and to be stronger. So the biggest misconception I find with bodybuilding, when people think about it, is people say, oh, I want to, I like the way bodybuilders look, but they're not strong. No, that's not true. You're absolutely wrong. You literally couldn't be any more wrong. I have yet to meet a successful bodybuilder that is not strong. You take Ronnie Coleman. I know we said we weren't going to talk about steroid bodybuilders, but this is a pretty household name. The dude's squatting 800 pounds. He's got 2 blown out hips now, and that's probably why, but the man squatted 800 pounds for 2 reps. If that's not strong, I don't know what is. Take Dennis Wolf on the bench press. You know what? Actually, better we'll take Mike O'Hearn, a lifetime natural bodybuilder, supposedly. I believe it. I met him in real life, actually, at Venice Gym. Super great guy, I just want to say. When he was talking to me, he was benching 455 pounds on the incline for 3 or 4 reps. It was incredible. Being the man only weighs about 260, that's an exceptional feat of strength. He's a freak, he's a bodybuilder, and he's strong as hell. So yes, bodybuilders are strong. A bigger muscle, for the most part, is always going to be a stronger muscle. If anybody tries to tell you differently, they probably don't understand basic biology and anatomy. Powerlifters have huge muscles. It's just usually covered up by, layers of fat. And again, that's not all powerlifters, but for the most part, that can be the case. So we'll go back to what's better for you and why. It is my personal opinion that bodybuilding, or training as a bodybuilder would with hypertrophy style exercises, is better for you. And here's my reasoning why. We talked about how powerlifting, for the most part, is not very practical in real life. Bodybuilding, on the other hand, is. I don't mean bodybuilding to be practical as, you cook your meals, you wake up at 5 in the morning and cook for 2 hours, you train for 6 hours. That's not the bodybuilding I'm talking about. I'm talking about the training style, because for the most part, all athletes, all people that train in the gym are never going to step on stage, whether that's a powerlifting stage for a meet or a bodybuilding stage for a competition. We train for the sole purpose of looking better, feeling better, getting stronger, and being attractive. So bodybuilding will give you all of these things. It's unfortunate because powerlifting is such a fun thing to do. It's not going to give you all of those things. Powerlifting will, without a doubt, make you exceptionally strong, but you're not going to get the look that you're looking for through powerlifting style training. You're not going to get the feeling you're looking for through powerlifting style training, and here's why. Powerlifting style training is based around low reps to build maximum amount of muscle possible. So the problem with that is you're typically not going to get your heart rate up high enough to burn fat. Usually when we start working out, we're pretty soft. It's pretty rare you get somebody who starts working out with a really great chest and a full 6-pack of abs. Usually, it's one of the two. So powerlifting workouts are designed, again, towards building maximum strength. A lot of low rep stuff. Bodybuilding workouts, on the other hand, are designed to keep you lean, to put on a maximum amount of muscle possible, and to move weight efficiently in a higher rep range. Typically, we find this is more fun because you get what's called the pump. The pump is the blood drive to the muscle, and that's what, as Arnold Schwarzenegger said back in the day, sparks the most growth possible. So we want growth. This is what we want. If anybody tells you they don't want to be bigger, they're probably lying if they're a guy. Or they just don't understand their body enough to really feel the results yet. So bodybuilding, for the most part, I feel is going to be more beneficial to the average person because it's going to give you what you want. So powerlifting, again, we'll go back to it and just recap real quick. Powerlifting is great as a sport. Powerlifting is fantastic if you're an athlete and you're training to be a competitive powerlifter. But if you're the average person or the average workout person who's, got a good amount of muscle mass, a little lean, and you have real aspiring goals, then bodybuilding style training is going to bring you to where you want to be. If you train pretty hard, if you stay on a fairly decent diet, and if you stay consistent, you will inevitably hit the goals that